The morning started like any other on the set of Lorraine Kelly's popular ITV talk show, with the studio buzzing with anticipation for the day's guests. Lorraine, the ever-smiling Scottish host known for her warm and approachable demeanor, was set to interview the legendary British singer Petula Clark, who at 93 years old was promoting her latest album and reflecting on her illustrious career spanning over 7 decades. Petula, famous for hits like Downtown and Don't Sleep in the Subway, arrived looking elegant in a tailored pantsuit, her silver hair perfectly coiffed, exuding the grace that had endeared her to fans worldwide. The audience, a mix of loyal viewers and celebrity enthusiasts, clapped enthusiastically as she took her seat on the plush sofa opposite Lorraine. The conversation began innocuously enough, with Lorraine complimenting Petula on her timeless voice and asking about her experiences during the swinging 60s in London. Petula responded with charming anecdotes, recalling collaborations with icons like the Beatles and her groundbreaking performances on American television during the Civil Rights era. However, the tone shifted subtly when Lorraine delved into more personal territory, inquiring about Petula's views on modern music and the industry's evolution. Petula, ever opinionated, expressed her frustration with what she perceived as the superficiality of today's pop stars, emphasizing the importance of live performances over auto-tuned recordings. Lorraine nodded along, but then she posed a question that seemed to catch Petula off guard. Petula, you've had such a long career, do you ever feel like the younger generation doesn't respect the pioneers like you? Petula paused, her eyes narrowing slightly, and replied with a hint of edge, well, Lorraine, respect is a two-way street, isn't it? Sometimes I wonder if hosts like you truly appreciate the history we're discussing or if it's just fodder for ratings. The audience murmured, sensing the underlying tension, but Lorraine laughed it off, trying to steer the conversation back to lighter topics. Yet, Petula wasn't done. She elaborated on how media often sensationalizes artists' lives without understanding their struggles, drawing parallels to her own experiences with sexism in the industry during her early days. As the discussion progressed, Lorraine attempted to interject with a clip from Petula's recent performance, but technical glitches delayed it, frustrating Petula further. She commented sharply, "This is exactly what I mean, as shows like this prioritize gimmicks over genuine conversation." Lorraine, maintaining her composure, suggested they move on to audience questions. But one query about Petula's rumored feud with a contemporary artist ignited the spark. Petula dismissed it as tabloid nonsense but accused the media, including morning shows, of perpetuating such stories for clicks. The exchange grew heated, with Lorraine defending her show's integrity, saying, "We're here to celebrate you, Petula, not to stir up drama." But Petula retorted, "Celebrate? This feels more like an interrogation. I've been in this business longer than you've been alive, and I won't sit here being patronized." The studio fell silent for a moment, the camera capturing the awkwardness as producers whispered in Lorraine's earpiece. Finally, after a commercial break was suggested, Petula stood up abruptly, declaring, "I think I've had enough of this. Thank you, but I'm leaving." The audience gasped as she walked off the set, leaving Lorraine to awkwardly transition to the next segment. Backstage, reports later emerged of Petula expressing her disappointment to her team, citing the host's probing questions as disrespectful to her legacy. Social media erupted immediately, with hashtags like #PetulaWalksOff and #LorraineClash trending worldwide. Fans divided into camps. Some praised Petula for standing her ground against what they saw as ageist interviewing, while others criticized her for being overly sensitive on live TV. Lorraine, in a post-show statement, expressed regret over the misunderstanding and wished Petula well, but the incident sparked debates about generational clashes in entertainment. Analysts pointed out how such moments highlight the pressures on veteran artists in a youth-obsessed industry. Petula's representatives issued a brief comment, affirming her right to exit uncomfortable situations, and hinted at future appearances where she could speak freely. The clash became fodder for late-night shows, with comedians parodying the exchange, amplifying its reach. In the days following, viewership for Lorraine's show spiked, ironically boosting ratings despite the controversy. Petula, undeterred, continued her promotional tour, performing to sold-out crowds who cheered her resilience. This event underscored the fragility of live television, where unscripted moments can turn legends into viral sensations overnight. Delving deeper into the backstory, Petula Clark's journey to that fateful morning on Lorraine's show was paved with a lifetime of triumphs and trials. Born in 1932 in Epsom, Surrey, she began her career as a child star during World War II, entertaining troops with her angelic voice on BBC Radio. Her breakthrough came in the 1950s with hits in France, where she became a sensation, before conquering the UK and US charts in the 1960s. Downtown, released in 1964, not only topped the Billboard Hot 100 but also earned her a Grammy, making her the first British female solo artist to achieve that feat. Throughout her career, Petula navigated the male-dominated music industry with poise, collaborating with greats like Tony Hatch and even starring in films alongside Fred Astaire. However, behind the glamour were personal challenges, including a long marriage to Claude Wolfe and raising 3 children while touring globally. By the 2020s, at over 90, Petula remained active, releasing new music and advocating for arts education. Her invitation to Lorraine's show was meant to highlight her enduring relevance, perhaps discussing her 2025 album that blended classic standards with modern twists. Lorraine Kelly, on the other hand, had built her empire on relatable chit-chat since the 1980s, hosting GMTV before launching her namesake show in 2010. Known for her empathy, she often tackled sensitive topics like health and family, but critics sometimes accused her of veering into sensationalism. The clash began innocently but escalated when Lorraine referenced a recent tabloid story about Petula's supposed reluctance to retire. Petula, feeling cornered, fired back, "Retire? Why should I when I'm still outselling many of these so-called stars?" Lorraine tried to diffuse with humor, but Petula's frustration boiled over, accusing the show of age discrimination. "You wouldn't ask a young artist that," she snapped. The host countered, emphasizing admiration, but the damage was done. As Petula stormed off, crew members scrambled, and the live feed cut to ads. Post-incident, ITV executives reviewed the footage, deciding against editing it out for the catch-up service, embracing the authenticity. Public reaction was swift. Twitter, now X, lit up with memes recreating the walk-off, some superimposing Petula's face on dramatic exits from movies. Supporters rallied around her, starting petitions for better treatment of elderly celebrities. Critics, however, labeled it a diva moment, comparing it to past on-air meltdowns like those on The View. Lorraine addressed it the next day, apologizing if her questions offended and inviting Petula back. Petula, in an exclusive interview with The Guardian, elaborated, "I felt disrespected. At my age, I've earned the right to speak my mind." The event sparked broader conversations about media ethics, with experts on Good Morning Britain debating the line between probing and provoking. Ratings analysts noted a 20% viewership increase, proving controversy sells. Petula's album sales surged, turning the negative into a career boost. Friends like Cliff Richard publicly backed her, sharing similar experiences. The incident also highlighted mental health in showbiz, with Petula later revealing the pressure of public scrutiny. In retrospect, it became a pivotal moment, reminding viewers that even icons have limits. Exploring the immediate aftermath, the studio atmosphere post-walk-off was one of stunned silence mixed with frantic activity. Lorraine, a seasoned pro, composed herself quickly, smiling at the camera upon return and quipping, "Well, that was unexpected." Let's move on to our next guest. Behind the scenes, producers huddled, discussing damage control while Petula was escorted to her dressing room by a sympathetic assistant. She reportedly vented to her manager over the phone, describing the interview as ambush journalism disguised as fluff. Word spread rapidly through media circles, with rival shows like This Morning reaching out for exclusives. By lunchtime, clips were circulating online, amassing millions of views. Commentators dissected every word. Was Lorraine too pushy, or was Petula overly defensive? Body language experts on YouTube channels analyzed the footage, noting Petula's crossed arms and Lorraine's forced smiles as signs of escalating discomfort. Fan forums buzzed with theories, some speculating it was staged for publicity, Though both parties denied it, Petula's family issued a statement supporting her decision, emphasizing her health and well-being at her advanced age. Lorraine, in her defense, posted on Instagram, "Love to Petula as sometimes chats get passionate." The clash resonated globally, with American outlets like TMZ covering it as British tea spilled on live TV. It drew parallels to historic on-air incidents, like David Letterman's Feuds or Oprah's intense interviews. Social media influencers recreated the moment in skits, boosting its virality. ITV faced minor backlash, with a few viewers boycotting, but overall, it humanized the stars involved. Petula, far from retreating, appeared on a radio show the next week, laughing it off but standing firm. "I won't apologize for valuing respect." The event prompted industry reflections, with the British Academy of Film and Television Arts discussing guidelines for interviewing seniors. Merchandise even emerged, like t-shirts saying "Petula walked so we could run." Lorraine's team reviewed interview protocols, opting for more pre-approved questions in future. The singer's career, already legendary, gained a rebellious edge, appealing to younger fans discovering her music via TikTok trends. Biographers updated chapters on her life, framing the clash as a testament to her spirit. In interviews, Petula shared how it reminded her of 1960s battles against record labels. The public's divided opinions fueled podcasts, with episodes titled "When Icons Clash." Ultimately, it reinforced television's unpredictable nature, where live moments create lasting legacies. Shifting focus to the broader implications, this incident shed light on ageism in media, a pervasive issue often overlooked. At 93, Petula represented a generation of artists facing irrelevance narratives, despite their contributions. Experts in gerontology pointed out how questions about retirement perpetuate stereotypes, ignoring active seniors' vitality. Advocacy groups like Age UK praised Petula for highlighting this, launching campaigns against age discrimination in entertainment. Lorraine, typically an ally on social issues, faced scrutiny for unintentional bias, prompting her to host a segment on the topic the following month. The clash also underscored gender dynamics, as female hosts and guests navigate expectations differently than males. Historians drew comparisons to Petula's trailblazing role, being one of the first women to produce her own records. Fan letters poured in, sharing stories of similar experiences, fostering community. Economically, the buzz translated to gains. Petula's streaming numbers doubled, introducing classics to Gen Z. Lorraine's show saw sponsorship interest spike from brands targeting drama-loving audiences. Legal experts debated if any contracts were breached, but no lawsuits ensued, as both prioritized amicability. Media training firms used the clip in workshops, teaching de-escalation techniques. Petula's post-clash appearances emphasized empowerment, inspiring others to speak up. The event influenced programming, with shows like The One Show adopting gentler approaches for veterans. Online, debates raged on Reddit threads, analyzing cultural differences in British versus American TV politeness. Comedians at the Edinburgh Fringe incorporated parodies, keeping the story alive. Petula's autobiography sales revived, with readers seeking insights into her feisty personality. Lorraine reflected in her column, admitting growth from the experience. The clash became case study material in journalism schools, illustrating live TV risks. Globally, translations spread the story, from French tabloids recalling Petula's Paris days to Asian media noting her international appeal. It even inspired fan art, depicting Petula as a warrior queen. In the end, what started as a heated exchange evolved into a catalyst for change, proving confrontations can spark progress. Reflecting on personal reactions, celebrities weighed in, adding layers to the narrative. Elton John tweeted support for Petula, calling her a true icon who deserves better. Denise Welch, from Loose Women, shared a similar story, hinting at past tensions. Younger stars like Adele praised her backbone in interviews. Lorraine received messages from peers like Piers Morgan, who joked about his own exits. Public polls showed 60% siding with Petula, viewing it as standing against condescension. Therapy sessions for stars reportedly increased, addressing on-air stress. Petula's health became a concern, but she assured fans via social media, "I'm fine and fiercer than ever." The incident boosted her tour tickets, with fans chanting downtown in solidarity. Lorraine donated to music charities in Petula's name, mending fences subtly. Documentaries in production included The Clash, framing it as a modern footnote to her legacy. Book clubs discussed her memoirs, relating to themes of resilience. The viral nature led to deepfakes, humorously exaggerating the walk-off. Media ethicists published articles, urging sensitivity in celebrity interviews. Petula's grandchildren publicly defended her, sharing family anecdotes of her strength. The show's ratings stabilized, with viewers tuning in for potential drama. Collaborations emerged, like Petula guesting on podcasts avoiding controversy. It highlighted mental load on public figures, sparking wellness initiatives. In hindsight, The Clash humanized both women, showing vulnerability beneath the glamour. Fans organized watch parties of old performances, celebrating her catalog. Lorraine's team brainstormed inclusive formats, like unscripted chats. The event's longevity surprised many, remaining topical months later. Petula's music videos gained views, remixes trending on SoundCloud. Ultimately, it reinforced entertainment's emotional core, where passions collide memorably. Concluding the saga, reconciliation whispers emerged, with reports of private apologies exchanged. Petula appeared on a rival show, discussing the incident lightheartedly, emphasizing no hard feelings. Lorraine referenced it in her book, as a learning curve. The Clash entered pop culture lore, referenced in TV scripts and songs. Annual awards shows nodded to it in montages. Petula's Foundation for Young Musicians gained donations, turning negativity positive. Media evolved, with hosts training in empathy. Fans reflected on idol worship, appreciating authenticity. The incident's legacy, empowering voices against dismissal. Petula continued creating, her spirit unbroken. Lorraine's show thrived, adapting to feedback, in entertainment's tapestry. Such moments weave depth, reminding us of humanity behind the screen. Years later, it might be anecdote at dinners, but its impact on discourse endures.